acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Turrbal people of Yuggera land, as well as the Woiwurrung people of the Wurundjeri land. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place and acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty. We respect all Turrbal and Woiwurrung elders and ancestors and any First Nations people here today.
Hi, I'm Keighley.
And I am, insert name here, Wence.
And you're listening to
The New Blurt.
I can't take it anymore!
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtsters, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the New Blurt.
Good evening. Tonight I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri country, the Kulin nation of the Woiwurrung people. Sovereignty was never ceded, always has been, and always will be Aboriginal land.
And I want to acknowledge that I'm coming live to you all from Yuggera and Turrbal lands on Meanjin lands. Always was, always will be, because sovereignty was never ceded.
Good evening, Wentz, my friend. How are you doing this wonderful evening?
Not too bad, Keighley. Suffering in the humidity that is Brisbane at the moment. Just awful.
Oh, really? Oh, really? What do you got, like 90% or something?
Feels like it. Probably isn't, but feels like it. And the aircon's been on quite a lot the last few nights.
Have you got solar on that place, or is it costing you?
It's an apartment, so we don't get solar.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
So out of our control.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we're quite lucky down here. We've had a couple of hot as all get out days, but today it's only been, what have we got? I think it's about my bloody computer should tell me. So here we go. Yeah. 20 degrees. I was going to say, it tells me. It's been about 20 degrees. It's 20 degrees now. It's really, really nice. It's been nice today. It's been a good day. So. Awesome. Yeah, no, can't complain at all. Cannot complain. And also, I was going to say I can't complain, but I'm not sure. I was listening to the Triple J's Hottest 100 on the weekend, which brought back a lot of memories because I hadn't listened to the countdown for a long time.
Yeah.
And we got to the top 10, and I heard at 136 Coal Makes Me Come by
the Chaser Boys.
By the Chaser Boys. I've got a little bit of that somewhere. I'm not sure where it is. We might play a little bit of that on the show one time. I'm sure they won't sue us. I hope not. Yeah, so that came in at 136. And I heard some your friend, what's his name, Owusu?
Oh, Genesis Owusu.
Yes.
He had a few hits in there.
Yeah, he did. And apparently I was listening to something at one point, and they said that there was 70, they'd already played 75%, I think they said something like that, of all the F-bombs that they were going to play in the Triple J's Hottest 100. And Genesis Owusu's one song... Get the fuck out was a third of all of those F-bombs. So I found that. Yeah, I know. I found that quite interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like that song at all. I thought that was shit.
I didn't mind it. I know when I reviewed his album a couple of years ago, I think it was, I really loved it and was chuffed about listening to it. And I know you weren't too much of a fan of it, but I like his history, his story, where he's come from. Like his music. So I've got a bit of a soft spot for him. He's eccentric.
Yes, he's very eccentric, and so's that video.
Yeah.
And look, people, if you haven't listener, if you haven't seen the Genesis Owusu film clip, as we say on this show, do yourself a favor, go to the interwebs and Google it, mate, and find that Genesis Owusu. Get the fuck out.
GTFO.
Yes, GTFO. Yes, well, but when he sings the song, he uses the words. So
he does.
He does indeed. But anyway, it's weird. It's very weird. But the one I did like, and I wasn't a big fan of. I wasn't a massive fan of the number one, which was by Flume.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be him because I read the day before, so the Friday, the bookies had already had him short odds to win. So I thought, it's been leaked.
Well, my daughter is like 19 going on 20, and she listened to Say Nothing, and she said to me, that's exactly what he should have said. She wasn't impressed at all.
Yeah.
No.
I remember that coming out in February, I think it was last year, and my first few impressions of it, I'm not a big fan. It's grown on me over the last 11 months, and I can see why people...
Like a toxic fungus.
Yeah, and it does good music, but what annoys me the most and with the Hottest 100 is that even though Maya, who was featured on the song...
she's the main voice on the whole song.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't get the credit, technically,
no.
in the Hottest 100.
We'll digress. Well, digressing as we normally do on this show, we just went and saw an installation in Melbourne by graffiti, a street artist called Rone, R-O-N-E. And his full name is Tyrone Wright, and he's an internationally acclaimed graffiti artist. And not graffiti, he's a street artist. And he makes these massive installations. So what he's done is he's gone into the Flinders clocks, the Flinders clocks building in Melbourne.
Yep.
And he's gone up there and he's used the third floor, and basically he's turned the third floor so that it looks like 1955.
Oh wow.
And it's unbelievable. What I couldn't believe was the massive, and this is where it sort of comes in. I couldn't believe the massive team that was behind him to make this work. And one of the biggest contributors, I think her name's Kathy Spooner, I think it is, or Stoner or something like that. Anyway, she created so much of the actual work, and the work was I'll try to just be really quick on it, but it was these different rooms, but each room was it was 1955. So it was like a 1955 pharmacy, a 1955 art studio, a 1955 workspace, and it was like people had just lived in there and then they've just sort of left, if you know what I mean. It's really hard to describe. Anyway, just all I was trying to say was that same deal with Maya, and I was talking to my daughter about this the other day. And she was saying that there's so many DJs, like David Guetta is a classic example. You'll hear David Guetta, and then you'll just hear all the time. That's all you'll hear is the artist itself. So
exactly. So I've got some other facts about Triple J's Hottest 100. 2,436,565 votes were tallied. So it's the biggest music voter poll in the world. Of the top 100, 57 were Australian artists. The 21 were American, 17 English, 3 Canadians, and 1 for New Zealand, Netherlands, Sweden, Italy, and Japan.
Oh, wow. Only 1 New Zealand artist. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. I don't know who that was. But
I thought it'd be more than that. So
yeah, I would have thought so too. Or are they part of Australian count?
Oh yeah.
Another fact: 57% of the voters were female, 39% were male, 2% non-binary, and 1% other.
Yes, because they have all those different spots that you can fill in, don't they? Because they're very progressive on Triple J. So that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
10 songs were from First Nation artists, breaking the previous record of 6 songs in 2020. So
I heard a cover. I can't remember. I think it might have been King Stingray.
Yes,
they did a cover of. Yeah, they did. They did a cover of Coldplay's Yellow.
Yeah, which was really
It
good.
was-
I really,
It was interesting. I actually liked it more when they did it in First Nations language.
yeah, that was really fascinating. I was just trying to imagine what those lyrics were in English version, I guess. So yeah, but it was really
Yeah.
good. Very well
It was. It was very cool. Very cool indeed.
done. Yeah. So that's there's heaps of other facts which I can add to the show notes, but yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing was with that as well is they had a major sponsor, which was the Australian Conservation Foundation.
Correct.
And I know at one stage they'd raised nearly 300,000. Do you know what the tally ended up as?
I don't know the final tally, but I do remember hearing it getting to close to 500,000, I think it was.
Yeah, well, they were, I know they were definitely close to 500,000 for a while, but I was listening to Lewis Hobber and some guy, and geez, he must be old.
That'd be Michael Hing.
Yes. They were very good, but geez, they must be old for Triple J.
For Triple J, Michael Hing probably isn't. Lewis Hobber's getting on now.
I think he's 40 plus, I think.
Is he? Wow,
I think
didn't realize he's that old.
I think
I used to listen to him and Veronica something or other, comedian.
I don't know.
Yeah. He used to. Yeah, he used to partner with Veronica. So I can't remember her surname now.
I don't know. I'm not
Anyone
sure.
out there who remembers, who might be younger than us?
Yes,
might remember.
it won't take a lot to be younger. No, exactly. Now, a little birdie told me that you did something interesting on the weekend, and I reckon I've worked it out already.
You worked it out? How did you work that out?
I worked it out. Oh, because I was just checking out that T-shirt for 2 seconds, and I worked it out. But I'll let you tell the story.
For those who are listening on the potty and not watching it on YouTube,
the listener,
or the viewer, and other listeners, I am wearing a Unlimited Love Tour T-shirt by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who were in Brisbane just 2 nights ago, and oh my god, it was bloody awesome. I'm a long fan of Chili Peppers, so very happy to have gone.
It's a shame we can't play anything from the Chili Peppers here, but good news is that I'll be there next week. So, we've got some big Chili Pepper fans in the house at the moment. Now, with that concert, I think they had Post Malone. Is that correct?
Yeah, Post Malone. Yes.
Now, you didn't know much about him. How'd you find him? Was he good?
He was good. Speaking of F-bombs from the Triple J Hottest 100, Post Malone seems to drop it just as often. So, be prepared. It'll be every second or third word.
And what about Chili's? Do they drop the F-bomb much?
No, not really. Got a comment there from Vicky. Yay, the Chili Peppers.
Yes. Fantastic to have you back, Vicky. Absolutely fantastic. One of our favourite viewers from last year. And, she's back on with the new Blurt, which is awesome. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, no, they are. They absolutely are incredible musicians, and we are looking forward to seeing them next week. So, don't tell me too much about it, but the T-shirt looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so if you want your merch, get in early, because I didn't get the T-shirt that I really wanted because I didn't have it in my size. So did you buy it online? No, in the stadium. So these are, I guess, limited edition because I don't know if this is going to work, but on the back you'll see the
nice. Very good.
And I've got flea on my ass as well for those. I was going to tell you last year you need to do something about that, but I need to see a doctor get rid of flea.
That's exactly right. But that's very cool. That is extremely cool. And something else that's pretty damn cool that I thought I might just bring up, which has absolutely nothing to do with what we've just been talking about, but this is pretty cool. This was and it might be a little bit jumpy. We'll see how we go. Do you want to just drop us when chatting for a second?
Yeah.
Drop that banner, and I'll just see if we can. Can you see that, or do I need to make it bigger?
Make it bigger.
So that. That's down at Blair Gowrie, I believe.
And where
And
is Blair Gowrie for those
that's
listening and
okay.
watching?
Yeah, absolutely. For the listener, Blair Gowrie is, well, there you go, Mornington Peninsula, which is southeast Victoria, if you like, down in that corner of southeast Victoria, and they shut down the beach.
Jesus.
So you can see the seals have sharp teeth. They move quickly. It's amazing how fast they move, how big they are. That's crazy.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? For such a big animal, they move so quick.
I just thought that was worth sharing.
Yeah. Just to backtrack a little bit, awesome little snippet there. Vicky, our listener, has said that yes, great to be back. Missed you guys, and it was Veronica Milsom who used to DJ with Lewis Hobber on Triple J.
Veronica Milsom. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So she's a comedian, I believe. And she also says, for those who are listening on the potty, mate, if you've got flea on your ass, you're living one of my dreams. So, dream. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
We won't go there.
No, we're not going there. Now, what we will do though, we had some homework last week. We had some homework. I had some homework.
You had homework,
and
yes.
I did have some homework because we were talking about powers of the Congress in America, because we did pain in the ass in the USA last week. I mean, party in the USA. What am I talking about? And anyway, so yes, a sitting president has the power to veto laws passed by the Congress, and the process is called a veto. And it allows the president to reject a bill passed by the legislative branch. If
Say
the
that
president
3 times when you're pissed.
No. And if the president vetoes a bill, Congress can still pass it into law if 2/3 of the members of both the House and the Senate vote in favor of overriding the veto. So that's not going to happen.
No.
Because, as we know, they've got 51 plus Kamala Harris in the Senate, i.e. they being the Democrats.
Yeah.
So
it's possible, highly unlikely in the current
Highly unlikely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well done. You get an elephant stamp for completing your homework there, sir.
Did you have any?
No, I had no homework this week.
All right. No homework.
No,
okay.
No. I would like to keep it that way.
All good. All right. Now I think it's time for a little bit of this.
Against it, but these fires are certainly not a function of climate change. They're just a function of life in Australia.
Why would a scientist want to change people's vote? I mean, this is you saw the spin over the past week as they drip fed.
A poll that came out last month, which found 1 in 4 Americans is skeptical about the effects of climate change and thinks this issue's been exaggerated.
It's cold.
You're listening to Green There, Done That on the new Blurt with Wency and the Keighley.
It's so good we don't have to hear that voice anymore.
No, pretty rare. Only in that sting do we hear his voice.
Yes, he or it that shall not be named on this program. Although, as you know, the new Blurt does come to you via Get Off the Grass Productions.
It does. Legacy. That's his lasting legacy for us.
That's it. Anyway, talking about Green There, Done That. Go for it, my fine feathered friend. I know you've got some good stuff.
I do. So this week, I want to talk to you about something that I came across on my recent holiday in Vietnam. We booked a very touristy Mekong Delta, very early morning river market tour. It's one of those ones where you've got to wake up at some stupid hour like 4 or 4:30 in the morning to be at the dock at 4:30, and then they take you off on your boat to the floating markets. And yeah, that was good. Very touristy. I don't know about the whether those are legitimate boats with all the produce that they're selling, because I didn't see anyone buying them, just tourists hanging around them. That wasn't the most interesting part. Then we saw a rice noodle factory where I mentioned last week, saw the cigarette dude handling all the rice noodles as it comes off the conveyor belt. That
Yes,
wasn't the most interesting part.
If you were with us last week, Wence was alluding to the fact that he went to a noodle making area where the chefs, or the people making the noodles, were sucking back nicotine the whole time, i.e. smoking cigarettes. And I think when they served it to you, they were still smoking. Is that right?
They were still smoking. They were smoking
Beautiful.
hot. That's right.
Beautiful. That's lovely. That's so nice.
Where's our missed the opportunity. That's all right.
Which one?
No, that's right. Tish. I'll do it myself. So that wasn't the most interesting part. On the way back from the tour, I remember taking a photo, and I'm gonna do a bit of show and tell, and I'll describe this as for our listeners on the podcast. Wait for the podcast to come along. So I took this photo, and as you know, phone cameras don't have the best zoom. So I saw this boat in the distance at the edge of the river, and it looked interesting. And later, once I got back to the hotel, I zoomed in on the boat.
Yep.
And so for the listeners, it's a zoomed in shot of this boat that says the Ocean Cleanup and the number 003 on the other side. So I did a bit of Googling in the hotel and realized that this company is a not-for-profit company that collects rubbish from rivers. So there's a number of these boats. They're called interceptors, and it's basically, and I'll show you the next photo.
Was it like a ginormous vacuum cleaner?
Basically, so it's got a gaping hole at the front of the boat, ship, whatever it is, and it has barriers along the river, essentially directing any rubbish that's floating in the river into the boat, and and then it collects all that rubbish onto the boat, and then it gets sorted and stacked, and then taken to local authorities on land to dispose of, recycle, etc. So basically, to get it out of the river so it doesn't end up in the ocean. And they move about as well. So they're not static. They'll move around on the different parts of the river depending on tide and weather conditions and things like that. So
and how many of these do they have? And that's on the Mekong, yeah?
This is on the Mekong. So
how big is that? I mean, like compared to say like Michigan or something like that. How big is it as a lake sort of thing?
So
is it a lake or it's a river?
No, this is a river. So this is the Mekong Delta. It's on the Kanto side of. So Kanto is the city, and the Mekong, I think, from memory, it's Kanto River that runs through there. And so this is one of I think it was 8. I'll get to. No, one of 11 interceptors around the world. So before I delve into a bit more detail, so the ocean cleanup was started by a Dutch teenager, 18-year-old Dutch inventor by the name of Boyan Slat in 2013, so only 10 years ago. It now consists of 120 engineers, researchers, scientists, and computational modelers. At the age of 16, Boyan saw plastic bags saw more plastic bags than fish when scuba diving in Greece. He thought, why can't we just clean this up? So this question led him to research plastic. It led him to research plastic pollution for a school project. He learned about plastic accumulating in 5 large oceanic gyres. So they're like little whirlpools, I think. So they're collectors in the ocean. Yeah. With the greatest being in the Pacific garbage patch. In 2012, he held a TEDx talk about how to get rid of the plastic using technology, and it went viral. So based on all of that, started this organization. And I'll just go to the next slide. So that's some of the rubbish that's collected. So for those listening or watching it, or for those listening, it's all sorts of rubbish that you might expect. Plastic bottles, tires, plastic drums, nets, all sorts of rubbish that gets caught up in the river system. And then some of them also are collected in nets as well.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. It's not they're stopping it from getting into the ocean. But what are they actually doing with it? I mean, because your time there has sort of alluded to the fact that many places are not just in disrepair, but are not clean, etc., etc. So it's interesting that they're cleaning up the Mekong Delta. Oh, just on that for 2 seconds. I've got just a couple of bits of tiny information here. The length of the Mekong is 4,023 kilometers in length.
One of the longest rivers, by the sounds of it.
Well, it's in the top 13.
Oh wow! I would have thought it'd be higher than that. But okay.
So the Nile is 6,690.
Wow.
The Amazon 6,387. But the interesting one is the Mississippi River. Mississippi, Missouri is 6,270. So that's the top 4.
Oh, yeah.
With the Yangtze coming in third. And the old Murray-Darling, believe it or not, it's in the top 15.
Wow.
This is off the world. This is off the world. So
nice.
I didn't know it was quite that long, but that's 3,750. Obviously, we are digressing as usual. But I thought I'd just give you that tiny tidbit of information.
Good to know, because the other interceptors, I'll just quickly rattle through the other countries they're in. They're in Jakarta, Indonesia, a river in Malaysia. I think it was near Kuala Lumpur. Then there's one in the Dominican Republic in the Central America. Actually, there's 2 in Malaysia. There's one in Los Angeles, USA.
Oh, wow.
And there's
do you know what river or where that's near?
Yeah, that's Bologna Creek in Los Angeles. So I'll put in some links if anyone is interested, if you want to have a look at more details, because each interceptor has a link as to how much it's collected as well on their website. And there's 4 in Jamaica. So it sounds like Jamaica's pretty bad at it's either Jamaica being bad with their pollution,
or they're really clean, or they're wanting to be really clean.
Yeah. Or it's maybe just a collector. All the rubbish just ends up in Jamaica, perhaps.
Yeah. Either or, it's a real shame that we even need these things, but it is good that they are there. But my question is, those things look pretty, obviously, technologically savvy. Who's backing the venture?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's your homework.
That is my homework.
That's your homework for next week.
Awesome.
Who is backing the venture?
All right.
So that is awesome. Thank you very much, Wence. And I think we may have something for you. I'll just see if we do. I know you were missing it, so
I think I know what's coming now.
Oh no, nothing's coming now. That was it.
No?
That's all.
That's it. Just silence. Yeah. Is that all I get?
What did you want? Is that good enough?
No, not good enough. I know what's happened, because I stole your audio. That's why nothing's come through the stream.
Oh right, okay. So
do you want to play that again?
Oh, I see. Oh, right. So right.
Second episode in the new year, and we're already stuffing it up. That's better.
Right. Golf clap.
No,
now.
That's a golf clap.
I know, as I said. Right. So with my green there done that, I'm as usual a little bit off the planet, as it were, or under the planet, as it is.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Well, not under the planet, but inside, deep inside. Well, deepish inside the planet.
Okay.
So a New York-based startup, Transcend, is offering green burial service. So customers choose a tree species suitable for the burial site, and their body is buried in the biodegradable flax linen surround by wood chips. Now, the interesting thing about this, so I heard a podcast on this about 2 to 3 years ago, and they were doing it somewhere. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. In fact, that's what I want to do. When I flip my mortal coil off this mortal coil, I would like to do that. I think it's a nice way to go, and you're not taking up space in any cemeteries or anything like that, and you get to go back into the earth from whence you came.
From me? You're coming from
yes,
me? What?
From whence you came.
Everything comes from me. I'm the.
It does.
I'm the Adam and Eve of everything. Then.
I think you're more Steve though, aren't you? I'm sure.
Steve. Is that a reference to our flag means death?
Yeah, yes, a little bit like that. Now, what I was going to say was, so the flax linen surrounded by the wood chips, local soil and fungi to facilitate composting. The deceased chosen tree is planted over the body, capable of absorbing the nutrients released during the composting. So as I say, it's just it's a really good way to go. And there's more and more people getting involved in this. And the burial site is marked with a memorial and the tree left to grow, which is awesome. The land is used in undergoing reforestation and will be legally protected from future development. Awesome. Transcend intends to launch its services in the US in 2023. And the company was founded by Matthew Cockman, inspired by the Capsula Mundi, a biodegradable egg-shaped casket for a tree to be planted. Transcend aims to have several burial sites open to have planted several people by the end of 2023, which I reckon is pretty damn good.
Does it mention what cities? I'm assuming it'll be within the cities, not just out in the bush or regional areas.
Yeah, I'll have a look here. Otherwise, I'm gonna have more homework. Let's have a look what we got. What we have here. I'm just having a look here. Practice. Oh, I do have a picture. So, so this is a sustainable future alternatives available in the US. This isn't exactly what we were talking about. This is a Seattle-based Recompose, but it's another green burial practice. So I will just bring it up, and you can see what we're talking about.
Looks like a barbecue.
Yeah, it does look like a barbecue. Exactly what I was thinking. 100%. 100%.
Love the smoke. What's producing that nice little smoky flavor?
That's Dad.
Ode to Dad.
Yes, ode to Dad. Exactly right. So for those wanting to give back to the earth in death options, they've broadened in recent years a form of cremation using liquids known as aquamation. I've read about this one as well. It's legal in more than a dozen states and can cut large proportion of cremation's carbon footprint. That's why it's so good, while generating a nutrient-rich liquid fertilizer. Human composting is legal in a handful of states, most recently New York, which makes sense. Recompose, for example, composts bodies in individual containers into soil for loved ones to collect or donate to conservation efforts. Nice. So I reckon that is pretty damn cool. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Keely's laughing at a comment by Vicky that says, in reference to me, you're Chilean Australian. Everything looks like a barbecue to you, Wence.
Yes,
that's absolutely right.
Don't know what's going on. Seriously, that's not happening. That's just not happening.
Oh, have we lost the audio stream again? Or
Oh, no, we're all good. We're all
Okay.
good.
awesome.
StreamYard was trying to play it, but StreamYard was having a heart attack, so I didn't bother. But that's absolutely fine. That's cool. So I just thought that was really, really interesting. Another environmentally friendly way of doing something that we do that is really, really bad for the environment, because going to the cemetery and just wasting that whole amount of land with people underneath it, underneath it, with slabs of cement in 2023. There's better ways of doing it.
Yeah,
just is better ways of doing it.
And it's a great way to green up the environment too. Planting all those trees.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm all for it. I think it's a fantastic idea, a really good initiative. So, yeah,
Sounds like,
very happy.
If there's no company doing that in Australia, might have to get into that business.
Yes, exactly right.
You never go out of business.
Well, yeah.
People always going.
Well, they're dying to get in, aren't they? So
they are.
I thought about dad jokes, but anyway, I think it's probably around about time to do this, because we've got some really interesting stuff coming up right now. So stick around.
Blurt Star says, let's get technical.
The human has been neutralized.
Still one of my favorite stings. But anyway, tonight we are going to talk about...
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Vicky,
sorry,
Vicky.
not sorry. No,
Vicky says, the jokes haven't improved. That's right. We work really hard to not improve on our jokes every
That's
episode.
exactly right. No improvement.
Thank you.
At all. None
Thanks
at all.
for your support.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. So tonight on Let's Get Technical, and if this is your first time and on the internet ever, and somehow someone's put a gun to your head and said you need to listen to the new Blurt, I'm very glad that they did do that, by the way. But if it is, you're listening to Let's Get Technical, where we do exactly that. We get technical. And tonight we are talking about ChatGPT. Now, if you've been living in the bottom of a basement because someone kidnapped you a few years ago and forgot to take you out, you would not know about ChatGPT.
No.
And also, I do hope that you've had help on that. If it was needed. But anyway, I'll get away from that. The ChatGPT, some metaphors can just be too broad. Anyway, ChatGPT is an AI engine, which is artificial intelligence, and it's all about you can open up this website and you can ask it questions. And there is a lot of negative and positive views and conversation, and there's a lot of what they call water cooler, in the old days they did, water cooler conversations regarding ChatGPT. Both Wence and I are IT guys, not nerds, just guys. And we have these sort of conversations that work moderately often because of the fact that ChatGPT is a technical piece of software. We have and can use it to write certain scripts or help us assist in certain troubleshooting we might be having. It's actually a really, really good tool, but it can be very scary, and I've got a few reasons why it could be very scary. Now, the interesting thing about all the negatives I'm about to give you is that I fed in the question to ChatGPT, what are the negatives of ChatGPT? And this is what ChatGPT came back with. So,
is it a he, she, or is it just an it?
I don't know. I've had no idea.
We'll just call it it.
this is what it came back with. Them. Lack of contextual awareness. ChatGPT has been trained on a large corpus of text, but it does not have the ability to understand the context of a conversation and can provide irrelevant answers. So it can be basically, sometimes it can be like talking to someone that's a complete Luddite. And it's, it is interesting because I've asked it some things at a time. One thing it can't do, it is a text-based engine, so it can't do anything to do with creating you an audio file or anything like that. But I'm sure there's engines out there that can.
There are other services that do that.
Absolutely. One of the other downers is its limited generalization. So while ChatGPT is capable of generating responses to a wide range of topics, which is very true, it may struggle to answer the questions outside of its training data or those that require common sense knowledge. Now, its knowledge up to now is at the end of 2021. So anything that happened last year or now, it doesn't know about. So it's interesting because I asked it the other day. I even asked it about Roan, the Roan installation. And
that's the thing that you mentioned earlier to me.
And that's in 2020. But he did have installations in 2021. So it come back with information for me. It's pretty amazing, really. Anyway, bias and stereotyping. This has been a really big conversation starter around the AI space, as you probably know, Wency, because there's been quite a lot of AI that's been used in China for face recognition, and they say it's been concentrating on Uyghur faces in particular, et cetera, and also just with AI technology as a rule. Apparently, they haven't been diverse enough, like many Black Americans and maybe Latinos that are particularly dark, and all different shades of the population, basically. But they haven't really done that. It's been quite white, as it were.
Seems to be a bias towards white skin.
Yeah, which is crap for anyone that isn't at that. So, and this can lead to biased stereotypical responses. So, obviously, it's a machine, so there's no empathy involved. Doesn't have emotions. Blah blah blah. It can make its responses appear insensitive or inappropriate. But again,
I haven't come across that yet. But
no. Well, it was interesting. I asked it something the other day, and it came back in all red writing and said, this is how you would do this, blah, 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 but you need to have the license to do this, you need to have this, you need to have that. Yeah, it was like saying, yes, you can do it, but I wouldn't do it, etc., etc. It was quite interesting. It's quite interesting. And the last one, as I've got for a negative, there's quite a few other negatives, but we haven't got all night. Misinformation. ChatGPT trained on the internet, which we spoke about before. It's got so it can contain misinformation or false information at times. So I think scripting and things are quite good because all that information that we try to in the game, people. I think a lot of the stuff they got from scripting came out of GitHub, I believe. For the listener, GitHub is, if you're not an IT person at all, GitHub is a area of where code is kept, if you like, publicly, and where a lot of code gets put up to so that people can have like an open source area where they can add to applications, etc. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's where they got a lot of their stuff. And my last one is limited creativity. It can generate responses based on patterns it's learned from its training data, but it might struggle to generally generate truly original or creative answers. So that's from ChatGPT's mouth.
And on the advantages side, it's pretty much the opposite. If you ask it, what are the advantages? It's natural language processing capabilities, its ability to generate human-like text. I was able to ask it, write me a 30-second blurb on technology, and it spat out something that I could read in 30 seconds. So it's all sorts of stuff like that. So it's capable of doing that. Can be used for various tasks such as question answering, text generation, and other things. Fast and scalable. It's generally quite quick.
Yes, it is.
To answer.
It's very fast. Very fast.
Especially the programming stuff. What would have taken me days to work out, it spat out in a minute.
I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely.
And then you just click the copy button, and then you just paste it into wherever you want. Run your test, your script in a test environment.
Yep.
Please don't run it in production. For those people who are wondering, just because it's giving you an answer doesn't mean it's 100% correct.
No, that's right. You definitely want to test it first.
Yeah. It's obviously got a large training data, and it's constantly learning, and it learns by input from humans. And it's continuously updated, as I just mentioned, by the data that it's being provided by the people at OpenAI. I did ask it before about will ChatGPT take over the world? I forgot to copy and paste it, but it did come back with something to the effect of, it is an artificial intelligence engine. It cannot take over the world because it's always learning things, and it's something to that effect. So I got an error back saying that there's network congestion. So it looks like it's very popular at this very moment.
Yes, it is. It's incredibly popular at the moment. And I think you had some information on, excuse me, I'm going to have to get a water. But I'll just let you talk about it. You were talking that they weren't allowed to use it in schools.
Yeah, I alluded to it last week when we spoke about it, because they mentioned it at our kids' school when they returned to school on first day, and other institutions like universities are returning back to pen and paper to do exams this year, because some people were caught using ChatGPT to write essays. ChatGPT came out in November last year, I think, to the open public. So it's been around prior to that as a beta, I believe. So obviously some people who've cottoned on to ChatGPT before the big blow up around the world that we've heard the last couple of weeks have been using it. So yeah, I remember seeing on the TV last week, some guy in Australia has created a program that can actually read the output, random output, and determine that it was created by ChatGPT, not by human. So I don't know who it was. I'll have to see if I can find that source. But hopefully the
good, more homework for you! Yay!
More homework. You better add that to the list, otherwise I will forget, because you've got homework too. Ooh.
I do. You have to add that to my list.
I can't remember. You'll have to remind me later. Where were we?
You were talking about the guy that can tell that it's GPT, not someone else.
Yes. So yeah, there is a program out there that he created that can do that. The interesting part is about banning it in the universities or school is it doesn't stop the students from actually doing it outside of school or pulling out their phone and writing up the questions. So I don't see the point in banning it. I think it's here. I don't think it's going to leave this planet. It's not going to be a forgotten technology, not for a long time, I don't think. And I think we need to embrace it and work with it, and hopefully it won't spit out vile information or anything like that. So,
well, as you know, they're going to have ChatGPT 4 this year. So obviously it is going to be with us for a while.
And it'll be a paid service like I alluded to last week.
Yeah.
Still to be decided or when that will be, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, there's so many pluses and obviously negatives with it. But if you haven't used it, it is a bit of fun. Because it means if you're trying to find out something, you don't have to ask Google 700 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't Google it, mate. ChatGPT it. ChatGPT
it. That's new. I might have to get that on a t-shirt. Just ChatGPT it.
That's it. That's exactly right. But it's just not. It's not catchy. That's the problem. It's
not it isn't.
Catchy, and it's hard to say. So I reckon they're going to have to. I don't know, change the name or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah. So that's your Chat GPT for this week. But now I reckon it's probably around about that time for.
And now it's time for When Nature Calls with Wency and the Keckster on the new. Oh, there, big fella. That's the wrong Nature Calling. Oh, right. Here is our new segment, Nature Calls. It's all about the wonderful world. Sorry, Wency.
Second favorite sting. Now, so I am talking about zombie cane toads.
Oh God, that sounds scary.
Look at the size of that thing. That is just honestly to God. So the listener, the links are in the show notes. So if you want to see the picture of the cane toad, yes, have a look because it's taking someone with moderately sized hands, 2 pretty big hands to hold this massive frog.
It's got to be a record, just about.
It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. So it's got some interesting little tidbits here. So experts are teaching others how to terminate the deadly invader. You know all about this far more than I do, but you go for it.
I was just going to say I caught one in our old house. Quickly identified it was a cane toad and worked out the 2 ways to dispose of it, and we took it to the vet, which was one of them, and then they dispose of it humanely. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, well, that is definitely without a doubt a nice way of doing it. The way that they've got here is it's not a it's definitely not a way that I was aware of. Let's put it that way. So, but we'll crack on because I just want to talk about what they actually do with it. So it's the humane cane toad busting is a low tech pursuit that requires little more than a bucket and a pair of gloves. So last year's hunt saw more than 55,000 toads captured in a single week. There's been brutal ways to kill it, and obviously
which we won't mention
on
this segment.
Play golf, etc. That's not good. But the way it's quite interesting is, sorry, I was just trying to get to it. So the human cane toad busting is a low-tech pursuit that requires little more than a bucket of gloves, and a pair of gloves, and you might want to get a stick if you don't want to have to bend over and grab them type thing. So, yeah, exactly. So dusk is the prime hunting time because toads venture out, etc., etc. It's a simple case of grabbing the toads, popping them into a bucket, cooling them in the fridge, and finally euthanizing them in the freezer. It's vital not to skip the fridge step because directly freezing toads causes them pain, Miss Vincent warns. Popping them in the fridge first cools them down, puts them into a torpor state, it's like a hibernation state, and involves slowing of bodily functions. So the fridge then freezer approach also appears to ward off the likelihood of the so-called, do I have a, yeah, this will do.
Yeah.
Zombie cane toad encounter. We've had occasions where we've had frozen toads dropped off to us by members of the public when they've been in our freezer for a week, but we've gotten them out and started defrosting them, they've woken up. She says, we do not know. We do know amphibians can do this. They can freeze themselves and wake up. We've contacted the university to ask about it. When this happens, they suggested they might have been frozen really, really quickly and not cooled prior to being frozen. That's why they say the fridge step is so important.
It's so vital. That's
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And that's meant otherwise you've got these zombie toads. God.
I want to eat your brains.
That's it. I want to kill your native wildlife. And that's meant they've preserved themselves. So frozen toad deliveries are a norm. It's odd as it might seem. Watergum welcomes regular deliveries of frozen toads gathered by Aussie eco warriors. That's because the toxin stored in their glands at the back of the toad's neck is a key to a new weapon of mass destruction. So what they're now doing is they are targeting cane toad tadpoles.
Yeah.
So this is quite interesting because what they do, the cane toad eggs are covered with their pheromones by the female when she lays them. So she basically coats them in a secretion that contains the toxins, and it protects obviously the eggs from predators. So what they're now doing is, and we know if the tadpoles detect this pheromone scent, they're going to follow it. So the research carried out by the universities means that the pheromones can be isolated from the toxin glands harvested from the dead toads, and used to make, not dead toes, dead toads, and used, that's even worse, and used to make tadpole lures, which basically means they're going to kill themselves.
Eat themselves.
Eat themselves. That's the idea. And I'm just thinking, that is brilliant.
It's brutal. It's cannibalistic, but hey, nobody wants this species in this country.
No, we didn't want them in the first place.
No.
So now we can use those adult toads and turn them into lures to catch tadpoles produced by any we miss in a nice big circle of control. Well, I think that deserves a bit of this because that was pretty damn good by them.
Yes. Right.
So that's me done.
Yeah. Unfortunately, just to add a little bit on that, even though they caught 54,000, unfortunately, one toad can lay tens of thousands each.
You're kidding.
Not kidding. Every year. That's every year. So one toad can do 20 or 30,000 a year.
Oh my! How is that possible?
I know. That's why they just explode, and they've been traveling south for the last few decades.
That's nuts.
So yes, it's a start. Crazy. But yes, if that
it is a start,
trick
and
works,
you do have to start somewhere. So yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
On to happier things.
I thought that was a happy thing, but there you go.
Well, a bit gruesome in that massive cane toad, size of a soccer ball, just about.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
From memory, I think it weighed about 2.5 kilos. So can you imagine a 2 or 3 kilo toad? Ugh. Anyway, or if that jumped on your foot or your leg while you're laying down. Oh, no, gross.
No, I agree. But anyway, I can easily not think about that. So move
on. I think my next subject or topic might be relevant because I'm going to talk about dogs and their dreams. So hopefully dogs will not dream about cane toads jumping on them.
Yes, that would be a very, very good thing not to do.
Yeah. So, I came across this little article about, do dogs dream? And I don't know about you, but I've seen our dog, Daisy, when she was alive, quite often just either twitching her leg, one of her legs or paws, or her rapid eye movements, or even just little mini barks or like she's talking. So I've always thought that they dream, but there's been studies and things like that that have confirmed that they do sleep. They go through the rapid eye movement sleep and non-REM sleep like humans do.
But they're not dreaming. So you're saying that
they will dream.
they are dreaming. Okay.
Yeah, they are dreaming. So they go through the same cycles and of REM and non-REM sleep and deep sleep and shallow sleep. Obviously not always in a long stretch like we do at night. Mind you, our Daisy did sleep overnight quite long. She hardly ever woke up during the day. But they can experience 15 to 20 cycles per night. And I think humans probably half of that. I'll probably have to look at my sleep app on my phone to tell me how many I'll go through. It's probably about between 3 and 6, I think it is.
But are you sleeping with your phone?
No. My watch tracks me.
You sleep with the watch on?
Yeah, I sleep with the watch on, so it tells me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's other systems, obviously, that can track your sleep patterns and things like that.
Yeah, it's called your
Well,
partner.
that'd be interesting. Yes.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep, or how many elbows did I get in the side of me?
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
I was just had a thought. I wonder if you could put a sleep tracker on a dog, on their little paws and
I'm sure you could.
I'm sure you could.
Well, I don't see why you couldn't. As long as it wasn't annoying to the dog, I'm sure it'd be fine. I'm sure it'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of research out there. They've done tests on rats and dogs where they study the neutrons in the hippocampus region of the brain where memory and learning is involved, and they see sharp movements in that, and similar to what they've done in studies in humans when they know that we're dreaming. So a lot of animals and dogs, of course, do dream. And they do have nightmares apparently as well.
Yeah, you can sort of, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily can tell if they're having a nightmare, but I mean, like you can't be 100% sure, but
No.
but sometimes, different reaction. I mean, we've had a lot of dogs in the past, and I've seen many sleep and do that kicky thing, and it's always hard to know which way they're going with that sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly. They're very cute to see when they are dreaming, and I can only imagine that they would only dream of stuff that they've experienced on the day.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know if that could ever be possible to be researched and discovered. Can they dream about things that they lived through a week ago, a year ago, like we do? We have all recurring dreams.
Well, one of the homework jobs that I'm giving myself is I want to get an expert onto our Nature Calls segment this year. See if we can get someone from the local zoo, or maybe you might be. I mean, I'm happy to have a chat with a few people this end and see if we can get an expert on. If you want to have a look your end as well.
We don't have zoos in Brisbane.
Do you not?
No,
at
not
all?
a zoo. Not at all. Not your regular zoo. We have sanctuaries, for example.
Oh, well, that'd do.
Sanctuaries. Yeah, that'd
be good. That'd be good. Yeah. It'd be great to have someone to give.
I'll see if I can get one of the Irwins from Australia Zoo. They're just up the road. 2 hour drive
true.
north.
But I can't see them coming.
No, not on our show, but no.
That Australia Zoo though. That Australia Zoo is phenomenal. Have you been?
Yeah. No, too expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's it cost?
From memory, it's like $200 for a family.
Really?
Yeah. Could be wrong.
Oh wow.
If anyone out there knows who's been, let me know.
I've been.
ChatGPT isn't working, so I can't ask chat.
I've been to the Australia Zoo. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
absolutely amazing. But I didn't know it was that expensive.
Yeah, must have been a while since you went.
It is. It's at least half a child ago.
Yeah, there you go.
So
which half? Top half or bottom half?
Shut up. And with that,
my brother-in-law is addicted to monkey. Rough couple of years, but he turned himself around.
Joke of the week.
And this week's joke of the week is: I recently bought a new toilet brush.
What was it like?
Long story short, I'm going back to paper.
Oh dear.
Yes, I know. It's a bit of a shocker.
That's a number 2 of the jokes for this week, I think.
I'm gathering. Pun intended. Pun intended.
Pun intended. Yes, pun intended.
That's what I thought. Exactly.
That's a good way to finish off the show, I think, on that poo joke.
It is a very good way to finish off the show, as you so rightly said. So,
thanks, Vicky.
Look,
someone's laughed.
Thank you for joining us live, and if you're listening to us on the pod, we will catch you next week. Got to be honest, we need to have a little bit of a meeting because I can't remember what we've got next week, but I do know that in a couple of weeks' time we'll have a guest for Party in the USA, and I need to have a chat with our friend Maria Teflaga, so from Econobabble. So she's most happy to come back again, which will be absolutely fantastic. So that'll be pretty awesome. So what we might do is basically sign off, and that is a good night from me. We'll see you next week.
Good night, and happy February for tomorrow. Start of the second month of the year. Woo-hoo.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, and thanks for viewing, and we'll see you on the flip side. Catch up.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.